I mean, what the whole point of doing this is that I'm seeing this, that I would never have seen this before. They would have been in front of me, but being in front of you is not the same as seeing something. In some ways, the most typical for me thing that I do is the drawings I do during meetings. Um, Sometimes I'll be driving to school, to a faculty meeting, and I'll think, what will I draw in the meeting today? And sometimes think, well, I'll just draw, whatever, But sometimes I'll think, oh, maybe I should draw, I'll just do landscape drawings from my imagination. I'll do figure studies. So I'll kind of give myself a project that I'm going to use in that meeting and see where it takes me. What I find is by doing that, I'm paying much more attention to what's happening, what people are talking about, than if I were just sitting there. My mind would wander. This way, my mind doesn't wander. I focus on what I'm hearing, and I'm also filling up pages. I think as a teacher, I think it's I think it's a good practice to do because it just kind of shows students how much art making should be and can be integrated with your life as an artist. It's not something I do sometimes. It's not something I do when I need to. It's something that I do constantly. There's Matthew Cherry. I've been enjoying watching his beard change shape. Henry Moore is, I think, one of the greatest artists of the 20th century. And then this is one of my favorites of his, a sketchbook he did, looking out of his studio window there. There were sheep in the field. I don't think they were his sheep. But there are sheep in the field nearby, and he'd look out his window and occasionally draw the sheep. And after, I think it was a season's worth of sheep. We got the baby sheep having been born, then the sheep grazing, and then eventually the sheep are shorn, and they kind of look kind of embarrassed that they're naked now. There's the last one before the shearing. And this is a wonderful thing. I mean, he made this sketchbook, he responded to the sheep, he knows sheep better than he ever would have otherwise. And then he gave it as probably one of the greatest presents anybody ever got. He gave it to his daughter. For Mary from Dad. I mean, today everybody has an object about this size in their pocket. They have their iPhone. And I certainly don't think they shouldn't. Not that I have one, I have a flip phone still. But I think it's useful. I think it's it's a great way to record things, keep in contact with things, look things up, photograph things. It's obviously it's an incredibly useful tool. But it's a tool that's one removed from your body. Pushing buttons on a screen is not the same as dragging a resistant object over a piece of paper. And there have been psychological studies that have shown that it's actually a very different experience for the person who's having that sort of analog relationship with nature rather than a digital relationship with nature. And there is no way that I believe that new media are to be eschewed or shunned, but I do think the danger is losing track of the old ways as well. The great thing about being in art school, I remember a dean said some years ago, the great thing about being in an art school is it's the only place really in the world today where you're using Stone Age technology, people drawing with a piece of burnt wood on a dry surface, and the most cutting edge technology, and all exists side by side. And it would be an incredible destruction of the core of what an art school is to lose any of those things. There's Matt Cherry again. I voted. I don't know if she was a real person or a person I imagined. I don't know.